Happy New Day, CSA. I'm happy to be with you here once again. And I want to say that we thank Reverend Samuel Sasu for his sermon last week in advising and charging the youth to be blessings unto the world or unto our world. And he showed them what to do or gave them guidelines as to live their lives in a fruitful way. On my part, what I would like to add to what he said last week is, for the youth, please remove the word competition from your minds and your affairs. You see, try to live the life that God has planned for you, and don't make your life a competition with others. A has a car, B has a house, so I must also have a house and I must also have a car. If you have faith in God and practice your spiritual guidelines in your own time, God will bring you whatever you need to make your life fruitful. You don't have to be in competition with others, because as you do so, you find your mental well-being, your mental peace will evaporate, and all you'll be left with is sleepless nights of how to acquire unnecessary or unwanted things. Thank you. Okay, my lesson sermon today is taken from Roy Eugene Davis' book, True Journal, February to March 2012. How to choose and benefit from lifestyle routines and spiritual practices that are best for you. The other time I was discussing with Auntie Peace, and we realized that most of our lesson sermons now are on how to live and live well. You see, the other time, Reverend John Siade was saying that there should be no dichotomy or no division between your normal life and the spiritual life. You should have only one life and see it as a blessing or become a blessing to your world. And in fact, in the True Journal, Roy starts with a prayer by St. Francis of Assisi, which is equivalent to the Use Me we have been singing here by Ricky Bias. It says, Lord, make me an instrument of your peace. Where there is hatred, let me sow love. Where there is injury, pardon. Where there is doubt, faith. Where there is despair, hope. Where there is darkness, light. And where there is sadness, joy. O divine Master, grant that I may not so much to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love. For it is in giving that we receive, it is in pardoning that we are pardoned, and it's in dying to our small sense of self-identity that we are born to eternal life. So this is food for thought. Let us not always try to find out what we can take from life, but let us also try to see how we can become peace on earth, embody peace, and also spread peace. You see, maybe I should have asked permission, but our sister Catherine is here. And from what I know, she was trying to have a radio broadcast, trying to spread peace in Ghana. And we thank her for it. And I hope that all of you will embody it. You don't have to become a minister to spread peace, wherever you are, in whatever small way. In fact, Mother Teresa says, start where you are. Start in your home. Because if you cannot spread peace where you are, forget it. You cannot spread peace anywhere else. So let us all try to be peaceful and spread peace right where we are. Okay, Roy says that the improved powers of perception and functional abilities and the supportive circumstances we experience as a result of insightful metaphysical study and diligent spiritual practice are evidence of the usefulness of our right endeavors. It shows you on the right path. Our ultimate aim, however, should be to awaken to the stage of self and God realization that will culminate in liberation of consciousness. Only then will we be permanently removed from the various troublesome conditions common to the ordinary self-conscious state. Those of us who were at Thursday's class had a wonderful sermon by Reverend Samuel Sasu, and he taught us what freedom is. In fact, he said he asked Roy to give him freedom, and Roy laughed. He said, "You are not in a prison. You are not in jail, but we are all looking for freedom." And he told us that is why, because freedom is actually looking for God. So whether we know it or not, whether we acknowledge it or not, everything we do, all our actions, we are searching for the ultimate good, the highest good in our lives. Whether we want to bring pleasure, whether we want satisfaction, and that satisfaction can only be got when we get God. That is why Jesus said, "Seek ye first the kingdom of God and its righteousness, and all else shall be added." Let us not do it the other way. Let us not try to seek everything else, and then when we finish, say, "Okay, God, I'm tired now. Now bring yourself, please." So once we have chosen to be on the spiritual path, and mind you, you see our numbers here, they are not many. And the reason is simple. You see, others are looking for miracles. That's the key word, miracles. They want miracle in every aspect of their lives, even when they are eating. You see, yesterday I watched some program on Net2 TV, some pastor and so-called miraculous healings. Even he would make Jesus envious of what he was doing. I mean, everything he has a prayer answer to it, and this thing, you see. But when you look at the pastor, and you can see that no, he hasn't got one ounce, one gram of self-realization in him. All he wants is people should come for consultation and all that. And please, the consultation is not free. It's your money which will go. But at least CSA here, we don't force anybody to give, like maybe we say 10%. How many people give 10%? Nobody chases you. But at least the message is real. And the message is very, very concentrated. And it gives you something always to think about, and it refreshes and improves your lives, or our lives, sorry. Thank you. He says that many spiritual aspirants are primarily interested in being able to have a more comfortable human existence. Of course, we all want better things in life. I mean, that is natural. I want it, you want it. It is natural to every existence and to every human being on this planet. We all want a more comfortable human existence. If they can be happier, healthier, have harmonious relationships, and be more prosperous, they presume that they will be satisfied. They seldom, if ever, seriously think about the inevitability of their departure from the world, of what their future condition will be when and after that event occurs. What Roy is telling us that it is good to have these things. It is good to be comfortable, wear good clothes, eat good food, have a house, have maybe 1 or 2 cars to drive. But it says that also to think of your future. And what happens? Denzel Washington said that we have never seen a U-Haul accompanying any hearse to the cemetery. What he wants to say is that we don't see anybody whose goods follow the person to the cemetery or to the grave. You see, so please, let us also think about the hereafter. When we die, are we sufficiently God realized or God awakened? Even a little is enough, at least to awaken you to the truth of life, because that is what we are all aiming for, and that is all what we want to achieve, the truth of life. And that is what Roy says, that only then are we permanently removed from the various troublesome conditions common to the ordinary self-conscious state. And he says, the only way to ensure our future enlightened well-being is to nurture spiritual growth now, so that we can be fully awake as soon as possible. Do not delay it. If it is possible, do not delay your awakening to God. Let it be now. And then he says that the only way to ensure our future enlightened well-being is to nurture spiritual growth now, so that we can be fully awake as soon as possible. When this is accomplished, we can effectively live as the immortal spiritual beings we are during our present sojourn in the physical realm and after we leave it. Our present incarnation is but a brief interlude in a longer passage through time and space, which will continue until we transcend both of these conditions. You know, there is always the debate, is there life after death, death after life, or whatever? But the wise ones and everybody says that, you see, life is God, and God does not die. So our lives, being raised of the one life present, our lives do not end with the death of the physical body. And in fact, if we meditate correctly and properly, it shows us that we are not the physical beings that we think, or many people think that they are. We are spiritual beings. And this is the testimony of all who have lived proper and purposeful lives. Until we rise above the constraints of objective circumstances, we can learn to know them for what they are, manifestations of nature's influences to which we can harmoniously relate without being confined or limited. When we are spiritually enlightened, we intuitively perceive all that is observed in the realm of nature as existing in one field of reality. We also know that we are units of the one field of reality. We are all expressions of God. And once we are on the spiritual path, it means that we are ready and willing to awaken to the truth of life. So as Roy says, let us not renege in our aim of life, that is to know the truth of life. And in fact, I think many of us, including myself, we will testify that we are very happy that we came to the spiritual path, because personally I will not exchange this way of life for any other thing in this world. If I come again, I will pray to God that I come on the path, maybe even at age 1, so that I can be a better person. Thank you. Then Roy says that continuously experience total well-being and progressive spiritual growth. It is best to choose routines of effective living and studies of higher realities that elicit rapid emergence of innate soul qualities and knowledge. To continuously experience total well-being and progressive spiritual growth, it is best to choose routines of effective living and studies of higher realities that elicit rapid emergence of innate soul qualities and knowledge. I'm happy to say that since I came on the spiritual path, that was in 1979. Luckily, I was blessed to meet Reverend Sasu when he came to Ghana in 1979 to begin the ministry of CSA in this part of the world. And what I can say is that the same message is repeated day after day in a different way. And I've never got bored of it. And I'm sure some of you, I can see Reverend John, when he came, he had plenty of hair. Now the hair is all gone. But he's still sitting here because he never gets tired of listening to that message. And I know that most of you, the same. Reverend too, when he came to Ghana, the hair was on. The hair is off. He has never stopped repeating the message. My hair is growing gray and all that. But we are happy to be repeating the same message over and over and over again. Roy says, although our past actions cannot be changed, their effects may sometimes be modified or neutralized. Physical distress related to poor health may be healed by implementing habits, apologizing for inappropriate behavior, or performing an act of kindness may heal a relationship. A personal or business project may be revised. Roy is saying that although our past actions cannot be changed, their effects can sometimes be modified. What we always hear is, oh, it's your karma, it's your past karma. Of course, most of us, including myself, in fact, everybody, we've acted unwisely in the past. But as they say, when you come to the spiritual part or when you learn better, you start to do better. What happened in the past has happened. And sometimes the effects may be coming. But Roy says that we can modify these effects. We can mitigate some of them so that they do not always have to land in a brutal way. Now that we are on the spiritual path, trying to become better people, learning new and better ways of doing things, let us know that the past does not always have to come and haunt us. Effects of recent actions which have not yet occurred may sometimes be prevented. A bank may be asked not to cash a check. A letter or memo may not be sent or be interrupted or retrieved before it is delivered. A purchase order may be cancelled. Anger, frustration, guilt, fear, thoughts or feelings of unworthiness, and disabling mental or emotional reactions to memories of unpleasant experiences may be neutralized by replacing them with constructive thoughts and feelings and performing constructive actions. He says here, anger, frustration, guilt, fear, thoughts or feelings of unworthiness. These are things which plague us in our lives. You see, sometimes when we, in our quiet moments, sit down to reflect on our lives, we find out that maybe we are angry with things people have done to us. Maybe we have guilt of things we have done to people. Maybe I quarreled with somebody, and later I found that it was a foolish quarrel, and the person has died. How do I go back and apologize to the person? I'm sorry. So this guilt and frustration, fear of the unknown, thoughts or feelings of unworthiness come to us, but we must learn to resolve them. And that is what Roy is saying, that they can be neutralized by replacing them with constructive thoughts. What has happened in the past has happened. Let it be. Let it go by constructive thoughts and feelings and performing constructive actions. They may be renounced, let go, released by forgiveness, including oneself if necessary, insightful understanding, and growing to emotional maturity. Need I say more? You see, one thing I really love about Roy's writings is that he never talks about devils and demons and all that, but he tries to show us that all these things are within ourselves. You see, by behaving better, by having more maturity, discussing with self-realized people, satsanga, and all that, then we also develop ourselves. It is not in trying to brand people as devils and evil and all that kind of thing. It doesn't take anybody anywhere, you see. Because since I met Reverend Sasu, he has never shown me an evil person. Reverend, have you shown me an evil person? You see. So please, if you're on the spiritual path, forget about those childish sort of things. When we were children, we heard of people breathing fire if you go into the forest and all kinds of rubbish. You see, they don't work. They are fantasies, illusions created by people just to, try to do who kind of thing. That is not the spiritual path. Or trying to go to the beach at midnight or 1 a.m. or go to the cemetery lying on graves. It doesn't work. Those things do not work. You see, he's saying that, then he goes on to say that lifestyle routines are actions, procedures, and activities we implement for our well-being and enable us to accomplish purposes of value to us and perhaps others and our environment. Lifestyle routines are actions, procedures. I remember very well that Reverend told us, it was Roy or somebody who went to Yogananda and asked, say, how do I live? And it says that you have to live anyway. You see, whether you come to me, whether you don't come to me, whether you live in a village, whether you live in a city, you have to live. So why not live the highest life possible? So I will urge each and every one of us, whether you live in your own house, whether you live in a one-room house, whether you live in a two-bedroom house, try to live the highest life possible. And what he's saying is that lifestyle routines are actions, procedures, and activities we implement for our well-being and enable us to accomplish purposes of value to us and perhaps others and our environment. When choosing them, ask, will it be good for me and others and their environment? Now, we hear so much of global warming. Why is it so? Because we are polluting and are defeating our environment. In fact, I heard this just this week. I heard a program on BBC. Now they are growing grapes in Britain, in England. You see, those who are familiar with Britain, which was a land of cold, grey, rain, is now a land of heat. And they are now growing marvelous and wonderful grapes in Britain, producing wines. Whoever thought that would be what is happening? We are destroying our environment. So let us be careful. Let us know that every time we are throwing something into the gutter, plastic or plastic waste into the gutter, we are harming our environment. Reverend has said it several times before. Our environment is an extension of ourselves. Let us not see ourselves separate and apart from life. Let us not see ourselves separate and apart from our environment. It is an extension of ourselves. Let us treat our environment right. Okay, he says, lifestyle routines should include personal hygiene. Now he goes into detail. Lifestyle routines should include personal hygiene, sleep, recreation, nutrition, exercise, work, choices of social activity, service or charitable activities, and continued learning for self-improvement and to acquire useful knowledge. What I'll take from that is something like sleep and recreation. You see, sometimes there are people who do not sleep on time, maybe for whatever reason, and then 1 a.m., 2 a.m. before they fall asleep. You don't get enough rest, and maybe the following day you have to go to work. Not only that, but for your own well-being, sometimes try to sleep early and wake up early. In fact, that is the best thing. And that is what Reverend taught us. He learned it from Roy Jean Davis, and that was what Roy Jean Davis practiced. Early to bed, early to rise. He says that exercise your mind and brain by being alert, attentive, curious, innovative, and acquiring new skills. Again, nothing of devils and demons. He's talking to you and me. He says, exercise your mind and brain by being alert, attentive, curious, innovative, and acquiring new skills, which each and every one of us can easily do. Acquiring a new skill is nothing difficult. In fact, up to this stage, I think most of us, especially the older ones, we are still learning to use mobile phones, the apps on mobile phones. We are still acquiring new skills. And in fact, me personally, I even learn from children. When I see children doing things, I sit down or I and observe them. Maybe I can learn something different because now is their age and things are changing all the time. Nothing stays the same. You only, when you stay the same, you are stuck in a rut, and nobody wants to be stuck in a rut. Learn new skills, acquire new skills, be attentive, being alert, attentive, curious, and innovative. One thing I've personally found very useful is that a cleansing fast, which I do regularly, I found out that when you do it, you are always sharp-minded. Your brain is always sharp. And that is what I do. Maybe others have got what they do. I'm sure that Reverend can share with us what he does. Reverend John Siade is also very sharp. I'm sure he can also share with us. And in fact, I'll task him that the next time he's here, he should share with us what he does to keep his brain alert, attentive, curious, and innovative. So, Reverend John Siade, I task you. Accepted. Thank you. Clap for him. And he's saying, he's saying that you become more skillful and living will be more enjoyable when your knowledge and skills are used creatively and productively. It's a true thing. It's a very, very true thing. You become more skillful and living will be more enjoyable when your knowledge and skills are used creatively and productively. And also to help the world. Let us stop this. I will say that one way of being quickly awakened is stop selfishness. Let us eschew selfishness. Let us always think in terms of what can I do to help others. When Lady Catherine was coughing, Reverend immediately took his water and sent it to her. He not thought about it. Oh, if I send it to her, what will I drink? And I quickly brought some to him. Please, anytime we create a gap in our lives, life or nature will come and fill it. So let us stop this thing about, oh, if I give, I will not get. It doesn't work that way. Please. Like I keep on saying, these are things which since 1979, I didn't know much. I must confess. But meeting Reverend, being with him, and seeing, there's no negativity in him, only positivity. So from today to go, everybody, practice positivity in your lives. Practice helpfulness. Forget about being small-minded. Forget about this thing. We, the ministers, are around. I think each and every one of us can help. At least those I know. Reverend John, Abraham, Auntie Peace, Reverend, and myself. If you can, we will guide you, we'll encourage you. If we can't do anything at all, we will say, we will say something to encourage you to get a move on in life. So please, take it serious. Other routines on projects that you want to include in your schedule of activities should be worthwhile and not distract attention from important matters or weaken or waste mental powers, vital forces, or personal material resources. Again, it says that other routines or projects that you want to include in your schedule of activities should be worthwhile and not distract attention from important matters or weaken or waste mental powers, vital forces, or personal material resources. Endeavor to do everything with specific intention. Endeavor to do everything with specific intention. Don't aimlessly wander or be easily influenced by opinions or behaviors of others. That was what I was talking about, the competition thing. Don't aimlessly wander or be easily influenced by opinions or behaviors of others. If somebody wants to do A or somebody wants to do B, let he or she do it. Rather ask yourself, is it in line with my way of what God has ordained me to do? That is what's important. Do what God has sent you here to do and forget about what others are doing. If others are prospering, thank God for them. And know that you yourself can also prosper. You can also live a life worthy of praise, or which everybody, in fact, normally when, like this morning, Reverend Samuel Sasso and myself, as we normally do Sunday, we go on a morning walk. And the people, when they see us, they greet us. They see there's something in us that attracts us to them or them to us. You see, everybody wants to put, oh, hello, how are you? Everybody wants to see something. Because we don't go around trying to find out what they are eating, what they are is in their pots, what is in their houses. But we wish everybody well. And as we wish everybody well, it comes back to us. Remember, do unto others as you have them do unto you. That is the law. There is no new law under the sun. The law is do unto others as you will have them do unto you. Okay, so now we come to effective spiritual practices. Roy says, calm and purify the mind. Calm and purify the mind. You see, if you have a calm mind and a purified mind, you can think and act well. You don't have to always pollute your mind with all kinds of things which don't make sense and we don't, even gel. He says that mental impressions enable us to know mental impressions, memories, enable us to know our history, think, and reason. Excessive mental stimulation and or confusion interferes with rational thinking and concentration. When the mind is calm, thinking is more orderly, and powers of discriminative intelligence and intuition improve. Calm and purify the mind. You see, when the mind is calm, thinking is more orderly, and powers of discriminative intelligence and intuition improve. Then he goes on to the next one. Clarify awareness. Clarify awareness. Clarify awareness accurately reflects perceptions to the mind and allows knowledge of one's essence and of higher realities to emerge. Distorted awareness causes misperceptions, illusions. Awareness can be clarified by regular superconscious meditation and by being superconscious while engaged in ordinary activities. This is the key. He says awareness can be clarified by regular superconscious meditation and being superconscious while engaged in ordinary activities. The prescription for meditation is twice a day, minimum of 20 minutes, morning and evening. So please, don't think that meditation is something that you do once in a while or when you have nothing to do. That is not the case. Make it part of your spiritual routine, early morning, in the night. And yourself, you see, if you practice, what we found out was that when we practice meditation regularly and correctly, within 6 months, you yourself, you see that your consciousness has changed. You see, and you become a better person. Let us not stop meditation and rather be watching movies. And when I say movies, we all know which movies attract Ghanaians the most. Nigerian movies. And you have all kinds of things taking place in the Nigerian movies. You see, well, they are making their money. So if you want to give them your money and destroy your life, it's up to you. But for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. Me and my house, we will still watch the Nigerian movies, but we will descend. And Roy is saying that when you do that, when you meditate properly, when the mind is calm, thinking is more orderly, and powers of discriminative intelligence and intuition. We have to learn to awaken our intuition. The next, Roy says, arouse dormant soul forces. Most of the soul force of people who are strongly attached or are preoccupied with egocentric and mundane matters is usually dormant. You see, he says that when they are strongly attached, when we have this strong attachment, please, let us not be attached to anything. You see, the Buddha said that everything is subject to samsara. Everything in the world is subject to change. So if you attach yourself to anything, know that you attach yourself to future pain, because that thing will change. And when it changes, it will bring you pain. Let us only be attached to God. They say God is the same yesterday, today, and tomorrow. It says mental confusion, worry, stress, purposeless activity, excessive thinking and eating, lack of sleep, alcoholism, smoking, addictive behaviors, and unwholesome living conditions weaken and waste vital forces. I don't think any of us want our vital forces to be awakened. And one thing people don't know is when your vital forces are depleted, you cannot achieve much. You see, you need vital forces or the strength of your mind and your vital forces to achieve things. That's what many people don't know. You deplete your vital forces in life. You see, they wander aimlessly, trying one thing after the other, all don't work. So Roy is telling us that mental confusion, worry, stress, purposeless activity, excessive talking, eating, lack of sleep, alcoholism, smoking, addictive behaviors, and unwholesome living conditions weaken and waste vital forces. Human soul forces are aroused by adoration to be spiritually enlightened, wisdom directed, purposeful living, mental and emotional good health habits, fresh air and natural light, meditation, devotional prayer, association with spiritually conscious people, and visits to places considered to be sacred or holy. CSA is a place considered to be sacred and holy. So please come here, come every day, and come and offer a prayer to God, and your lives will be more fulfilled. Now he says, refine the nervous system and improve the brain's capacity to accommodate refined states of consciousness. You see, as you go on the spiritual path, when soul force are awakened in your life, your body and your brain and your mind has to process them. So if you do not refine your nervous system, then the higher conscious states of consciousness cannot express in you. But if you learn to refine your nervous system and manifest in you, you see, this week, Sam came. And he looked at me and said, "Oh, you are aging." And I said, "Oh, forget it. You see, my perception of God is not decreasing. It is not decreasing with my most important. Refine the nervous system and improve the brain's capacity. That is what happens. You can accommodate refined states of consciousness." Now, the last one is we should allow our innate qualities, powers, and knowledge of our essence of being and higher realities to emerge, and knowledge and higher realities to emerge as units of the pure conscious aspect of ultimate reality. What is true of it is true of us. What is true of God is true of us. You see, maybe you don't want to have money. That's why we can consult Elon Musk and his people. They will send us in a space capsule. It says, as units of the pure what is true of it is true of us. Its expressive processes that is within it is active when our mind is very calm and our awareness is clear. Ending I will end with a question somebody asked Ramana Maharishi. They say to Ramana Maharishi, said, Ramana, how come we cannot see God? And Ramana said, very